Do you think, looking way down the road, I know you've been very passionate about it, and I love the idea, and we did see a little bit of it, just, piloted, if you will, in the bubble, about a shorter regular season and a construct as a play-in tournament for seeding as well as getting into the playoffs. Do you think there's a conversation about that, maybe even piloting that this year? Do you think, to make sure that is getting in? Certainly, the NFL's talking about maybe having a week 18, week 19. There's at least a down the road. The NFL doesn't, it's not what they want, but I mean, a Super Bowl later in February is possible. The NBA, as you pointed out right there, has got the backstop of not wanting to go up against the Summer Olympics that's been pushed into 2021. What do you think about all this, Brian?
There is going to be some sort of play-in tournament, but it's not going to be the kind of thing that people have been talking about for years. It's just going to be an effort to try to squeeze more games, if you want me to be 100% frank. And right now, the negotiation for shortening the season permanently is off the table because everybody is in concession. There's money coming out of people's pockets here. Before, it was a question of whether things could be created that could make the money neutral. Now everybody is losing money, and nobody wants to talk about removing opportunities to make money. The window for that is closed for the time being. But I do think that play-in tournament was interesting that they had in the bubble, and I think we're going to see a version of it next spring, or I guess maybe summer, depending on when the playoffs start. And so they're moving in that direction. But this is just, Rich, for the last 6 years, and all sports have been this way, for the last 6 years, the NBA, 6 or 8 years, the NBA has had a huge influx of money coming into the system. Let me just tell you this, and this is all you need to know. Until like 3 years ago, there'd only been 2 players in history that earned over $30 million in a year. Kobe Bryant did 1 year. Michael Jordan did in the 90s in those 2 balloon years with the Bulls. That was it. It never happened other than those 2 guys. Last season, Rich, there were 20. It went from 2 in history, and then a couple years later, there were 20 guys earning over $30 million. We're about the first $40 million players in the next year or two, okay? Huge amounts of money have poured in, and the decisions that people have made have been based on that money flying in. Now there's money flying out the door, and it's changing people's perceptions of what's going to happen. And one of the things that I will be fascinated about is the load management argument. Mm-hmm. So many teams have focused on load management. They've had huge staffs where one guy on the staff was just in charge of load management. Well, guess what? We are headed into an NBA recession. Staffs are going to be smaller. Games are going to be tighter. Money is going to be tighter. We'll see where load management gets prioritized when the financials of the league are so vastly different, where, not worrying about the national television audience if they don't get to see a star player because, we're going to get the money anyway. We'll see if that is the prevailing feeling as it has been in recent years.